What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can tell by the title, we're going to be doing Orange is the New Black versus Reality. Now, before we get started, I just want to let y'all know I have not seen every single episode of Orange is the New Black. I have seen certain things, and this video is my own opinion. If you are a die-hard Orange is the New Black fan, please be patient with me. But yeah, I haven't seen every single episode, so I'm not personally a die-hard fan, and this is just from my own personal opinion and my own personal perspective. So there are a lot of things that are real, and there are a lot of things that are super, super fake, and I have a lot of opinions on that. But this is a TV show, you know what I mean? So you have to keep in mind that anytime there is a show depicting jail or prison, it's kind of difficult to get everything translated on screen the way that it actually is. A lot of jail shows that you see kind of rev up the drama to keep you tuned in every week. It is a very smart tactic and strategy just to keep the audience engaged. So without further ado, let's get into today's very biased video. So most of season 1 is Piper being afraid to go to prison, and then when she actually gets to prison, she is just shocked. Like, she makes this face a lot. She's shocked at the conditions in which she has to live. She's shocked at the people, and she's kind of afraid, and we do see that change in later seasons. But when she first arrives at Litchfield, the correctional officer says to her, "That's your fiance?" You could say bye to him. That is true. They talk crap to you. One, if you say that you're married, they will laugh at you and say that relationship's down the toilet or what have you. So that's real. When correctional officers say that to inmates, they're saying it because they've seen it before. They've seen these relationships crumble. They see fights in the visitation room every single week. They're saying that because they have a lot of experience with that. They've just seen it a lot. So, you know, it is what it is. Maybe it would be nicer for the correctional officer not to say that to that girl, but it happens. So when Piper is still brand new in season 1, you also see her with shower shoes made from pads.
With those sad pants shower shoes, I'm not gonna save you. You need some of these. I made my own.
That is real. When you're brand new, you do what you gotta do. They don't give you shower shoes. You have to buy your own shower shoes. Certain facilities, like county jail, just give you rubber shoes. That's the only shoes that you have, are these rubber shoes, so that doubles as a shower shoe. But when you get to prison, you have to buy your own sneakers. They give you these flat shoes, and you can buy sneakers. You can buy Nikes on commissary. Your girl did not have that kind of money. And you can buy shower shoes, which is a huge necessity, and they're just like the cheapest flip-flops ever. So that is real. Her absolute horror, I have to say that word right. Every time I say it, it sounds like I'm saying horror. I'm not saying horror. Her terror in the first season of the conditions in which she has to live and the people around her, I'd say that's pretty accurate. I've seen so many women come through with no experience of jail or prison, and they're shocked and they're scared, and they spend a lot of time just trying to stay out of everyone's way. Now, Piper gets in a lot of issues in season 1. She pisses off Red, and Red puts a tampon in her food. That is also accurate. Women will put tampons under your pillow if they don't like you, and you won't even know until you're laying down and you smell it. So it was just it's a very normal thing to see people checking their rack before they get into it. So yeah, that's real. That happens. So I want to go to Diaz and Diaz. This mother-daughter relationship, this dynamic that you see on screen, does happen in prison. A mother is in prison, and then her daughter will also come to prison for, you know, whatever reason. That is true, and that does happen occasionally. I have seen mothers and daughters get arrested and come into the county jail together, and more often than not, they can stay together because a lot of jails, a lot of county jails only have space for one female pod. Not always though, every state is different, every facility is different, but yeah, they can usually stay together. Maybe not in the same cell, but they're definitely gonna be in the same unit. When you see Diaz and you see her just walk up to her daughter and slap her, that's something that I have seen also. And you see Diaz, the mother, kind of look around to see if a guard was watching and then hit her. That's basically what you have to do. So that scene I felt like was really real. And it was something that I've seen families come through. Family members, cousins, mother, daughter. I've definitely seen that happen. Let's go to Diaz being pregnant. I've never seen an inmate get pregnant with a guard, but I have seen sexual relationships going on between a guard and an inmate. So we see Diaz develop a relationship with that guard, and they're sneaking around and trying to find different places to have sex. That was something that I would say was real, but I do think that they gave them way too much time. This has to be a very quick thing, and it's also something that would take much longer to develop. You kind of see them pass a no, and they start talking, they start flirting, and then she kisses him. It would be much more slow than that. It would probably start with a look, to be honest. So all inmates can read other inmates, they can read guards, and this cop, oh, I forgot his name. Let me know in the comment section down below the officer's name that got Diaz pregnant. So it just would start with a look, just eye contact, and then a letter, and then more eye contact, and little, like, you say something to the officer here and there. It takes time. So I think they kind of moved that one a little fast, but that can happen. I have known that to happen. I've just never seen it with my own two eyes. Like a woman getting pregnant with an officer's baby. I've never seen that, but I do know that that happens. I also want to throw in here that you see a lot of the inmates kind of linking up and playing family, and that's because they develop a friendship with other women and they miss that. They miss that home setting, they miss that family setting, they want to go home, so they're kind of playing family in prison, and I have seen that as well. So I would say that that is pretty real.
Who are you? Her daughter. Who are you? Her daughter.
So the mother having a prison daughter and then her real daughter come in and having drama with that, I would say that's also real. I just kind of want to throw in here, I really like Tasty. She speaks her mind and I really liked her. That has nothing to do with anything. Let's go to a couple other scenes, and I'm gonna try to throw up pictures as I can. I can't throw in clips because I will get copyright claims. Let's go to some fake stuff, okay? So as the show progresses and later seasons come, you will see the show take a lot of different twists and turns. And in the first season, I felt like it was more depicted to be a little bit more real than later seasons. So the inmates tend to have a lot of time on this show by themselves, where the guards are not coming in and they're not messing with them. They have a lot of time to use drugs. So there's one scene, and I'll put a picture up if I can find it, where Tiffany has just battled and she's gone through so much on the show. She started out being a villain and she kind of worked her way up here. Towards the end of her time on the show, she worked her way up to be kind of a friend, and she did a lot of self-growth, and you could just see the transformation in Tiffany's life. They're left alone in this laundry room for a very long time, and ultimately Tiffany relapses and overdoses. But, you know, a lot of the cast members speculate on the show, did she do that intentionally? Did she not? And just my opinion, yes, she probably did that intentionally. I also want to say that no inmates would be left alone in laundry. So that whole scene is fake. That scene, more than likely, if it was a real prison, would have been taken place in a cell. That would not have gone down in the laundry room, and here's why. Inmates are not left alone in the kitchen, in the laundry room. There's guards everywhere, especially when inmates are out of the unit. So if you were at your work assignment, like in the laundry, then there's officers in there with you. Same with the kitchen, same with medical. You're not left alone that often, especially outside of your cell or outside of the dorm in the unit. Another thing that I noticed was super fake is these inmates just have free reign of the prison. They can just walk into anyone's office, you know, walk into the sergeant's office whenever they want to. They can just walk around. There's no doors buzzing them from place to place. So let me just try to explain this to you. Yes, there's more movement in prison, but if you want to get out of the dorm, you have to ask for the door to be opened. And usually they'll just talk to you through a flap, like you're not even allowed to talk to them, talk to the officers. Then say you have a medical appointment, and all of this is written down on a sheet that is left up in the dorm every single week. And they say, okay, Kent has to go to medical. You know, pop barracks 7, they'll pop the door to the barracks. Then I will have to sit and I'll have to wait in this little bubble where the guard's desk is. I'll have to wait to be buzzed out of another door leading to the hallway. Then I would get to the hallway and I would have to wait for a gate to be buzzed open for me to go to another hallway, and so on and so forth. You can't just walk out your dorm and walk throughout the halls. Like, that is the fakest thing I've ever seen in my life. There's multiple doors leading to every single place that you have to go. So yeah, the time in which Piper can get to the sergeant's office to be like, I don't like my roommate, and whine about that, is just not realistic. You can't just walk up in anyone's office. it's not free movement. There's more movement, but it's not free movement. Another thing that I thought was super fake and over the top and hella TV is how all of the women came together to kind of take over the prison. And in one scene, I think, was it Tasty? Yeah, Tasty gets a gun and puts it on one of the officers. That would never happen. That would never happen. I've never seen women stick together just to get tampons. I'm not saying that to create any shade with women that go to prison. I've been there. But I just want to say here, women are less likely to stick together and come together for the greater good. That's just been my personal experience. And for me, I couldn't even get women to stick together to get tampons, you know what I mean? So to see all these women rioting and smashing windows and then Tasty has a gun on one of the officers, no, that is so TV, that would never happen. A lot of the women are either afraid of the repercussions and they don't want to go to segregation, or they just want to do their time to get home to their family. You know, so to see this riot in Orange is the New Black, that is absolutely fake. That definitely would not happen. Nope, that is TV. That is not real. There is another scene where Alex, the hot one, I always thought it was so funny when they kept calling her the hot one. Alex has a drug dealer come into the prison as a prison guard. He got the job just so that he could kill Alex. That is also very dramatized. That's very television. And you know, one of the other inmates comes in and they ultimately end up killing this guy and they hide his body. Nope, that is so fake, so drama, so over the top, so TV. There is absolutely no way in hell that two female inmates can kill an officer and then hide that body, because as soon as that officer is not seen, like for shift change and count, like it would be very, very fast, then they're gonna know something is wrong. And if this is the good old boys club, you guys. If one of the officers is missing, they will tear up that facility, and justifiably so, right? So that would never happen, never. That is so TV, no. Another kind of layer of Orange is the New Black is there's so much disorganization in this prison, you know, and that's just another thing that's just not real. You don't see like the structured schedule of what a prison day looks like. So, you know, just another thing in my personal opinion that was done incorrectly. I don't want to throw any shade. This was a very successful show. People liked the show. It was done really well, but it's also not real. It is not depicting prison life the way that it actually is in so many situations. I want to talk for a little bit here about Laverne Cox, who I love. I love Laverne Cox. I think she is so freaking awesome. Her character's name is Sophie and she's transgender. She was MTF. And I love that they included her story in Orange is the New Black. I love that you get to see kind of a look into what Sophie's like was and how difficult that transition was for her family. So I'm so glad they included Laverne Cox in the show. I think she added such an amazing dynamic to the show, so I loved her. Now, Sophie is MTF and she has completed her transition and she's had surgery. So I was in a prison with a transgender woman. She was also MTF, but she had not finished her transition and she was not able to be in general population and she was kept in segregation. I know a lot of you guys asked me about that. So that is the story with that. I don't know if that is changing, but in my personal experience, if you are MTF and you are placed in a female facility and you're not finished with your transition, they will keep you in segregation. Now, a lot of the inmates in the show have mental health issues that they should be being treated for, but they're not. And that is something that I don't think a lot of people talk about. That to me is very real. You know, you see Cindy's battle with being a mother and you see her being very, very funny. And at first when we meet Cindy on Orange is the New Black, she's just funny and she's kind of all over the place and she's like the class clown. She's very vibrant and very fun. But when you take a closer look at Cindy, you see that humor is just a defense mechanism and she really has a lot of pain. And throughout the seasons, you do see, you know, a deeper look into her life. And that's another thing that I think was done pretty well in Orange is the New Black, is to take a deeper look into these women's lives, you know, to see why they're there and how they became the person that they became. So that's just something that I did like about Orange is the New Black, is that you'd see these characters as they are as inmates, and then you would see them how they were in the street. So I thought that added a really good dynamic to the show. I thought that was done really well. But a lot of inmates do need help with their mental health and they are not receiving that help in prison. So, you know, there's so many, like Crazy Eyes, she probably wasn't receiving the right treatment. And I really liked Crazy Eyes too. I think that character is so awesome. So she played that character and that role really well. That seemed like a very difficult role, but she killed it. It was such a good addition to the show as well. But you see, you know, Crazy Eyes has a very dark past as well, and a lot of these women are not being treated the way that they should as far as their mental health. They're not getting counseling, they're not getting therapy, they're not getting medication, and that is a very real part of prison. More often than not, in my personal experience, a lot of people that go to prison suffer with so many different things, whether it's depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder. There are so many things that people suffer from in prison and they're not being treated. That's something that I don't think the show discussed, but they did show it in a way that made me understand. By looking into the backgrounds of these people, you can see they really are suffering. So drug addiction is also present here, and I really liked Nikki. I kind of related a lot to her struggle. So there are so many moments that are so deep, especially with Nikki, where she relapses, and you know, it's heartbreaking to watch. She goes to a meeting in one scene where she talks about heroin being like her girlfriend, and I related so much to that. I related to her words. I'm glad that they included Nikki's story here because a lot of inmates do suffer from drug addiction as well. You see her in the show using drugs, and I think the cool thing about what they did here is a lot of the inmates came to help her, which I thought was really cool. The last thing that I'm gonna say is about Cop Mendoza. You guys, there is an Officer Mendoza in every facility. Ugh, maybe not as bad, but like that whole like RoboCop power trip thing, that's a real thing. There are good officers as well, but man, I hated Mendoza, and I think you're supposed to. I think that was the whole point, to hate that character. He got on my nerves. I hated watching any scene with him, and that was real. I don't want to say that to bash correctional officers. Just like inmates, there are good inmates and bad inmates. There are good officers and bad officers. So I don't want to say that to bash officers, but I have met so many officers like Mendoza where they're just awful and you don't want to deal with them. So I kind of wanted to just include that in this as well, because the way that they depict these officers is kind of close. I kind of want to talk about Ruby Rose before we go. So there is a Ruby Rose in every prison also. She is so beautiful, and I've seen women like that make straight women really confused because she's gorgeous and that accent's awesome, and she's a little manipulative and a little conniving, and you can just see she's got that bad girl image, and a lot of women are drawn to women like that, and hello, she's gorgeous. So I've seen some Ruby Roses in my life come through prison. You gotta look out for them. Oh, one more thing. The underwear scam, where they're like creating this business with the underwear thing, which is also really disgusting. That's fake. I've never seen anything like that in my life. So, but you know, it's a TV show. They have to keep you interested. They have to create new plot lines. So the underwear business, fake in my personal opinion. All right, you guys, I'm gonna end today's video here. I hope you found it entertaining. You know, just kind of a laid back video today because you guys were asking me for my opinions. So from 1 to 10, how fake is Orange is the New Black? 1 being real and 10 being super fake. I'm gonna say it's about a 7 on the fake scale. It's pretty fake. There are some things that I did think they did pretty well, but other things definitely did not agree with. I thought it was super fake, but it is a good show. So I'm gonna end today's video here. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober. Don't break the law so that you don't have to wear pads on your feet as shower shoes. If that doesn't motivate you to not break the law, I don't know what will. Bye, you guys.